Next slide, please. Okay, so I went through the second set of 4, and we'll go through the same thing. We'll open it up to questions and let people respond. If you have questions about any of the topics, or if you have suggestions for opportunity areas, we'd love to hear your feedback. So we'll open up the Q&A and give people a minute.
So I'll start with some questions. Let's see. One question is, how will the county coordinate with the school districts on this as it relates to the education element?
I can try and speak to that a little bit. So I think, you know, the purpose of this particular workshop is to get feedback on what you think is, what the public thinks is important. And then we'll have a later workshop, and I'll talk about this a little bit in just a moment at the end of this presentation. But we'd like to have another workshop where we get a little bit more feedback on some of the implementation measures that we've identified. And so I think working with school districts, perhaps the exact manner of doing that hasn't been identified yet, and that will hopefully come out kind of in the process of putting together this implementation plan. But, you know, I mean, the county has a good relationship, obviously, with the school district. So I think to the extent that we identify some solutions or some manners or programs that we can support and work together with them, I think that all of that is on the table.
Okay. Another question is an agriculture related question. More than 90% of the local ag products are shipped out of the area, and more than 90% of the food consumed here is imported from out of the area. Meanwhile, struggling families are excluded entirely from the local sustainable food system. How will the sustainability plan change this unsustainable dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, that's well, first I think if that is the case, then that is something that the sustainability plan should look into, and I think it is looking into as part of encouraging local food consumption and connecting the production of local food with the community. And part of the food recovery goals, along with SB 1383, could assist with that. And I mean, in terms of those statistics, I would love if whoever sent that comment could follow up maybe with kind of the sources of those statistics, because I would like to know, you know, a little bit more about the distribution of food, where it's going in Yolo County, and maybe how the plan could help alleviate that situation.
Okay. Let's take one more question. One opportunity area is carbon capture in ag lands, which will relate to the climate action plan. Would you be looking at that?
Yeah, so one of the resource areas I mentioned earlier was open space and the potential for land conservation and open space and habitat restoration to support natural and working lands is kind of the umbrella term, covering initiatives that can be done to encourage carbon sequestration on land. So I certainly think that is something that can be looked into. It's not covered in great depth in the county's current climate action plan, but the current climate action plan came out in 2011. So there has been a lot of research done on carbon sequestration in that time, and understanding that the state's pathway towards 2030 and 2045, in particular, carbon neutrality goals will require some pretty innovative and scaled investments in carbon sequestration. So absolutely something that we want to look into as part of this plan.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Let's suggest we get through the remainder of the slides here, and then we're planning on adjourning here at 7:30, so we'll try to get through as many additional questions as we can. But again, we'll be following up with folks with questions we don't get to.